Hello everyone, today we're doing the Elden Ring DLC boss tier list, so we're going to be covering every single boss in the DLC. That's not just remembrances either, it's literally anything pretty much with a health bar and a name underneath it, so even some of the weak little night bosses that you fight. And today I'm actually joined with three of my friends, Justin, Colton, and Kurumi, and we're going to be going all of them, over them all together. And just as a little bit of a heads up of how we're going to be doing this tier list itself, with the tier list itself, what you'll be seeing here is that we have everything in the tiers from F for I hate it here, E for suffering, D for find the fun, C for mid, B for we are vibing, A for so close, and then S obviously for our favorite NPC, Egon, and it's curse you Bayle. Now, how we're going to do this tier list is, it's not just, oh, how was the boss fight, which mostly we do want to talk about the boss fight itself, but you can also use it for grading the aesthetic of the arena, how is it going into the boss fight, like the area before it, the legacy dungeon, things like that. You can also use lore and anything like that that would increase the value of the fight itself, are also part of the things that we can cover and use it. But we're gonna go over every single boss here, and then we're all gonna kind of talk about what our thoughts are for the boss. So without further ado, I guess we'll get started. So everyone's favorite dude to fight, Ancient Dragon Man. What do y'all think?
Hey, who doesn't love Ancient Dragon Man?
That man is just great.
So I'm putting him in S simply because they could have given him some really cool name, but they were just like, nah, he's Ancient Dragon Man.
Not even a dude. It's just a dude.
Like, I mean, he's there to test whether you're good enough to fight Bayle. So
True. He does have backstory. Actually, I think if you read, is it his weapon?
I think it is.
Yeah, his weapon's got some backstory on him too. It's just some guy that killed drakes and ate them. So you're saying S, Justin? What about you two?
I'm vibing.
You're vibing with it. You're vibing. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say we're vibing with him.
We're vibing?
Like, he's not a tough fight, but like, he's funny.
True.
Also, I like that you do actually see him beforehand as an invader. So
yeah, it's kind of interesting that he invades though right before you fight him. I was thinking that when he invaded, we'd almost fight him like periodically throughout the entire thing, and then he'd either be a boss later or like he would be him in person that you fought. Which, I mean, you do fight him in person, but I didn't expect him to be a boss actually. If we're being honest, I mean, like, the lead up to him is kind of like meh, except for the Dragon Cave, where it's like you're very much in like a almost like crumbling Pharaoh Missoula thing. But I think I have to agree in that, like, I would put it in the we're vibing. Really fun fight. I get why you would put him in S tier though, 100%.
Literally, the only reason I would put him in S is just because the name. I think his name's
just because it's silly.
Yeah. Yes. I love the name.
Honestly, no. Ancient Dragon Man is such a great name though. It's just so goofy. All right. Oh, one thing I forgot to say too is... Oh, go ahead.
The only reason I wouldn't put him in S tier is because of the freaking magma worm. I'm sorry. His dungeon.
Oh, the one you have to fight up there?
Yeah.
Worm. That's the only reason why. Why is it here? I hate it.
Like, that
I get someone there as a host, and that thing just murders them immediately.
Yeah, that magma worm is also harder than him.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I actually cheese that thing from the tunnel.
You can do that. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I did not want to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to say one thing too about the tier list itself that I didn't mention in the intro real quick is we're also going to, once we get every single boss here put on here, we're going to also organize them once we have the tier list done and arrange them in who is the best of each category, or if we get down to like the F tier, who is the biggest piece of shit.
The worst.
Which I don't think
who's the best of the worst.
Which I don't think we need to deliberate and debate about. I think is literally the next thing coming up here. Ancient Dragon Senessax, literally the fucking worst thing ever. I don't think a single person
I-
has this thing high on the tier list ever. I think everyone puts this at the bottom.
I would
Yeah.
put it as one of the worst bosses in the entire game. Period.
Yes.
Not just DLC.
Yes.
Yes, agreed.
Agreed.
The rest of the area is fine, whatever. But like literally just this thing itself, literally just is like a mood killer. Honestly, I would say. And yeah, you can summon people for it, right? But it doesn't matter. It's not fun ever. There is never an instance where you're like, damn, I had fun fighting this thing ever.
Yeah. Not much else to really say there.
Also,
Like,
it's
awful.
solo. It's solo. I think you can summon Spirit Ash maybe, but you can't co-op this boss. This is a
Yeah, you
forced
can.
solo fight.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can
I
summon.
didn't realize that.
Yeah, you can summon like your spirit ashes for it.
Yep, but it's a solo fight. Yeah, we're doing a co-op run right now with some of our characters. This is just a little bit of what we do on off stream or whatever when we're just casually playing. But yeah, Justin, we have co-op characters, and we're trying to co-op as much of the DLC as we can together. And this like entire Jagged Peak area is just not possible. Pretty much like almost all of it is solo. So it's just like, well, okay, I guess, except for like one boss fight, and then Bayle himself. Which, speaking about Bayle, that's who's next. So, thoughts?
Easily S.
S.
Not even the question.
This is the best fight in the game.
Bayle is a very good fight. I do not vibe with it as much as everyone else does. He is fun, but I will concede to that. He is personally like an A tier for me, but I see why everyone else loves him so much. And it's hard not to when you've got such a lovable NPC as part of the fight.
You literally go from bro yapping, going and then all of a sudden, Mana's like screaming his lungs out, "Curse you, Bayle!"
Exactly.
Like,
Did I ever tell you the message that was right before Egon for me?
no, what was it?
There was a message like right where his dialogue triggered, and it said it was like listen closely and then edge.
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't literally everything about Bayle I think is like actually just the best thing you could ever want. You kill 3 dragons before it. One of them's a piece of shit, which you hate. And then it's silence, no music, just wind, then lightning, then wind and lightning, then crazy wind and lightning. And then it's just a big empty arena, and then this thing just fucking dive bombs you and it says, "Hey, what's up? Time to fight." And then
Yeah,
obviously Egon, like,
Yeah, and if you read the lore of some of the materials you get on the way there, those flowers like are like essentially the grave sites of other Dragon Communion warriors.
yeah,
Like each individual flower. So you see how many people he's killed.
Oh, man just bodies everyone. And then also, too, man has Placidusax heads literally still attached to him. Like, hello? That shit's crazy. You find out so much lore about him and Placidusax just in general, and Crumbling Fair Missoula, and, like, everything. All the dragons you murdered all throughout the lands between are pretty much just little followers of this little asshole. It's so good.
They're actually
Not
more
just
like his
followers,
children.
they're actually his children.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he is the first of the Drakes.
Yeah, so it's just I don't think there's been such an all-encompassing boss that just covers so much stuff from not just DLC but also like base game as well. Like just gets put into this boss by himself. So yeah, this is just right to S. I don't even think that's debatable. Except for you saying that you want it to be A, but that's fair. That's understandable.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about real quick too, like fighting him too. His moves are very easy to learn to dodge. Like the only problem with him is that he does a lot of damage. So literally, if you screw up, that's what kills you. It's because you screwed up, not because it's like he doesn't stop attacking. Like yeah, he's aggressive, but I never once was like, damn, this bro doesn't stop attacking. It's like nah, bro just hits like a freight train, and it's like, do you see how big he is? Like yeah, it makes sense.
He's also
This man
hitting
literally
that hard
took
with
on
the-
Placidusax full power.
Exactly.
Yeah, like he's missing both his wings and one of his fucking legs. He's still kicking your ass.
Exactly. It's like, can you imagine if bro was actually at full power? Like, now, It's so sad that we go from like literally one of the best to then we have Black Knight Edredd, and I think Edredd is the Twin Blade user. Yeah, he is.
I was about to
He is,
say
yeah.
you're gonna have to tell me which one's which.
This is the
side,
Twin
like,
Blade user one.
Okay.
I'm gonna say mid. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think it's anti-fun, and I get it. It's a common enemy later on in the game, and I get it. That's a thing that they do to introduce, like, hey, by the way, you're gonna see a shit ton of these fuckers later on. But I think the boss fight is fine. Like, there's nothing crazy. It's just a mid boss
Like,
fight. Like, okay, I'm done.
I mean, it is cool that you get to see like Crucible wings in action, like how you'll actually use it.
Yes.
I will also say Black Knight
yeah.
armor is probably one of my favorite armor sets of the DLC.
It's fashionable. Yeah, it's fashionable. And the area's not bad too. It's a very small, nice little, like quick little area too. It's nothing crazy, so it's not like, oh my god, I gotta spend, however long slogging through whatever to then just get to some lame ass boss. It's like, nope, it's boom, 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 done.
Right.
What about?
Yeah.
Are you guys in agreement then?
I'd
Yeah.
say mid, yeah.
Mid.
Yeah, me is very much mid.
All right, and then this one is Yoshi or Lickitung.
Yeah, Garrew. Yeah, fucking.
I don't like him.
I don't like this one.
It's a goofy spell, but I do kind of wish we at least got it.
Yeah, where is it?
Yeah, that's the neat part.
Crucible tongue.
Dude, why can't I Yoshi people, dude? Come on now. Like, could you imagine if like they're across the gap and you Yoshi them into the gap? Like that, there's so many funny scenarios that can happen from this. It's like, yeah, all right, that was silly. I don't know. I find this guy way less fun though because he spams it and he gets hyper armor during it, and I hate that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think this fight is. I think it's still mid. I think, but it's definitely not as fun as like Edredd is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the only like bonus you get out of it is you get the Black Knight shield, but like if you don't use shields, what's the fucking point?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is one of the best shields in the game.
It's one of the best holy shields.
But if you don't use shields, well, why even fight him other than for runes?
It's true. Yeah, and you can skip him technically and just go around the backside to get the item. So like, All right, so this is obviously probably everyone's first boss, right? Like this is what everyone thought. This was the welcome to the DLC nerd. Like this was the welcome to the DLC. I think it's a mid fight. I'm gonna say it. I think it's a mid fight. Like there's nothing crazy about him. It's just a rude awakening of you're about to get fucked and like take this seriously. Like that's what it feels like. But like
yeah, I would agree. It was just like he was basically just like, okay, I wasn't quite sure how much damage the DLC was going to be doing, and then he hit me the first time with the Asher War, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty much dead, and then he hit me with the follow-up, and I was dead.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? And I mean, even how you get to him, you just fight you can literally just run past all the birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the mausoleum fights for the most part. But like, yeah, though, like it is cool that you do get to see, like, you already get to see a new armor set and weapon, two new weapons actually, because he has the repeating crossbow.
Yep.
But
would you say then you would put him if you were to put him on your scale? Would you put him at B for vibing? Would you vibe with him?
I think I put most of the NPC fights in B.
B. Okay.
Personally,
that's fair.
Yeah.
What about
kind of a B?
I'd say B for me too. Yeah.
You guys would put him at B?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna change my position on that. I think it's fine. I think he's just a vibe of a fight. Like the fight pretty much can go any way you take it. If you treat him like a player invader almost, essentially, like it's just a PvP match then, more or less.
I will say he is very poise heavy because that fucking armor set.
Yeah, and then he's using the greatsword. Yeah, and then he tries to Asher war trade with you, and that's just suicide at that point.
You're right.
Respect to the two-hand. If he's not two-handing, he's pretty easy. But as soon as he's two hands, respect.
Hell no.
Get the fuck away.
Yeah. All right, so this boss fight coming up here, Chief Bloodfiend. If you don't remember which one this is the one you find in the cave with all the guys in the water. There's like 40 of these fucks.
The blood cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mid.
It's just a big Bloodfiend.
Yeah, I killed him in like 20 seconds. I
Yeah.
just like whatever.
Like
I put like D, honestly, D or E for me.
you'd put him in D or E.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Actually, nah,
he's
you're
kind of
right.
just boring.
Yeah, I would.
Like-
I think I would put him in D then.
Yeah.
The 3 times that I've killed him, I've just kind of forgotten he exists
Like-
after killing
like-
him.
Yeah.
Like he can do a decent bit of damage, but that's about it.
Yeah,
Like-
I actually I'm gonna put it into suffering. I'm gonna put it into no. I'm gonna leave it in D.
I would say I'm suffering fighting him, but I'm
Yeah,
just like,
like-
where's the fun?
like,
but
the
I would say
only-
suffering because before you get to him, the 30 fuckers that are guarding him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cave is just full of enemies, and
Yeah.
if you have an invader there, and he just
Oh.
decides to sit in there, yeah, that's not fun at all.
Yeah, the only thing you get from him other than runes is a spirit ash,
A
which a
shitty
lot of
spirit
people
ash.
don't use. Like I haven't used it myself, but it is interesting that this one is like the mimic tier where it uses your HP rather than FP to summon it.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so I want
It
y'all's
demands a
opinions.
blood sacrifice.
Yeah, no, true though. It's lore accurate. I want y'all's opinions first on this. Commander Gaius, Mr. Hog Rider himself.
I didn't
I'm
have that
not a
much
fan.
trouble with him, but if you struggle at dodging or, aren't frame perfect, he's going to absolutely annihilate you because of how he is. His
Yeah.
hitboxes are janky.
hitboxes are very janky. I've
it-
only
it-
fought him a select few times, but
It took me a while to learn the timing on the charge attack. That was the one that got me the most for sure.
You
But
talking
like
about
once
the,
you
you
get
talking
it,
about the hog charge?
yeah,
Yeah.
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 I it's like frame perfect and like to the right or left is what I like figured out by the end of it.
Yes, yeah. So I was gonna say actually, because I wanted to bring that up. That charge attack is the one that everyone talks about. But I actually have 2 major complaints because I don't want to say my tier list. I don't want to say my tier until you all have shared yours. I want to save mine for the last of it for us. But you have to run in one direction first and then dodge in the opposite direction to dodge his charge attack. But the problem I have with that is it's so counterintuitive that you're not gonna just figure that shit out. I did it by accident once and then realized that that's how you're supposed to dodge it. And it's like that wasn't on purpose. And I watched the Actman's video to date this. The Actman's video came out where he also ranked the bosses, and he was like, I don't know how to dodge this guy's charge attack, so I just decided to block it. And it's like exactly my point. Like, you could just fight this boss a bunch and just not know how to deal with that shit because it's so counterintuitive to run in one direction and then the last second dodge in the opposite.
Yeah, that's I don't know. That's like a lot of dexterity that some people just don't have.
I'm also going to
Yeah.
say, too, one of my, I think, and a complaint I have even more so than that, is that this boss sometimes will get double hits on you when it's only a one hit. So there are certain times you'll get hit and you'll lose a portion of your health, and I've had it happen multiple times where all of a sudden I'll get hit by the same attack and lose double my health bar.
Yikes.
Yeah, and to me that's either there's like janky hitboxes going on where it's counting as 2 hits at one, or there's a bug in the boss's coding, which was what it comes off to me as in, where it's like it's counting as 2 hits instead of one, and it's like, okay, but if I'm taking trades with a hyper aggressive boss, and that's another thing too, is like how aggressive this boss is, people like don't have a chance to do anything. So like
yeah, he is so super fucking aggressive.
so you mix that with like, okay,
Yep.
if you go for a trade on him, and then all of a sudden, instead of taking a single hit, you take like some janky bugged or something double hit. It's like 90% of my health bar just got deleted instantaneously, and I had no choice in the matter for it. It's like then now you're gambling, but you're not even gambling like efficiently. You're just gambling recklessly at that point.
Alright.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, but so where would y'all put him though?
I'd put him in D. If
yeah.
it was just phase 1 the entire time, because I find phase 2 easier,
Yes.
then I would definitely put it lower. But he's just not fun, not entertaining. His
Yeah.
lore is cool and all, but
Yeah, no, the lore's
Yeah.
cool, but I think that's the only thing cool about him. Oh, also, shit, this needs to be talked about. They want you to use Torrent.
how? He's slower than the fucking...
He's slower than the
Uh,
boss, and for some reason, the Reverend Spirit Ash does not make Torrent tanky enough to actually not get smacked off. Literally gets 2-shot and dies, or you get hit twice and you get knocked off anyways. So it's like, either way, you just died instantly. It's like, what was the point of using Torrent? It's so bad.
the worst part about that is when you're falling off torrent, you're able to get hit during that entire fall animation.
And while
it
you're getting up,
stacks.
you can't even quick roll out of it. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I don't
so
think this
I hate
boss
using
fight.
torrent for that reason.
I don't think this boss fight was designed very, very intelligently. To be honest with you, I don't know what the fuck they were doing to fight this boss, but I don't think it came out that way for everyone else as a whole.
Yeah, he's a cool boss, and I can't speak too much on stuff in the fight, mostly because any hosts I join for him die immediately.
Yeah,
but,
that makes sense. that makes sense.
So, but at least from what I've seen, he's not a boss I would enjoy fighting at all.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, so you guys would say D though. I'm gonna put him myself at E, but you guys are saying D then.
I can agree with you.
You could convince me on E pretty easily for him. You did not take much persuading.
that ain't good, but yeah, yeah. I don't know, like nothing's. I don't think anything's touching Senessax, to be honest with you. But yikes, dude. No, the average person complaining, I feel like in this DLC, it's gonna be 3 major bosses, and I think Gaius is immediately one of the 3 major complaint bosses, no questions asked, kind of deal.
And another thing about that, they did change his spawning position as a nerf to him, because after your first fight with him, he would spawn much closer to you. So you basically get charged and ran over without being able to summon your mimic or whatever you were going to do beforehand.
Yeah.
So that did help it out a lot, making it easier on successive attempts.
Yeah, that's the first one, yeah. Okay, Count Ymir. I know, Colton, you haven't done this fight yet.
I haven't. I've seen the fight though.
Yeah,
he looks silly.
It's just an NPC fight.
It's just an NPC fight.
He has a goofy spell.
Yeah,
he spams the finger one.
Yeah, he's an NPC mage.
Yeah.
Get close and they're and hit them with a big weapon and they're fucked.
His lore is kind of cool, kind of like it's interesting, I guess. Yeah, is the best way to put it.
He was a teacher to Rolana or whatever, but he abandoned her because he fucking realized that the moon wasn't actually a god; it was just the closest celestial body.
Yeah. I the best I could do is B, to be honest. Otherwise, I would go down to C with this fight, because he does have the cool spell where he does the dash spell, which is pretty sick. But like again, other than that, like it's just an NPC fight.
It is cool that he uses all the spells that he sells you.
Yeah.
But
I just found him very boring. That's why I say he's just mid. Like his quest line, if it wasn't for his quest line, I would just put him in D because he's just boring.
I also have to say he's creepy. Like he belongs on a watch list.
True.
Yeah, he definitely is on a watch list.
He would be on a watch list. That is so true. Also, you know what we can talk about? This will come up with another boss later on too. His quest line, I'm sorry, but there is no reason the finger areas are as big as they are. There is literally no 100%. Excusable reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was a mistake. That was 100%. That was 100% a mistake. I'm sorry. There's no excusable reason that they are that big, and the enemies you fight there are just not fun either. Like, you know what? Yeah, he's going. I'm putting
the
him
fucking
mid.
Leeches.
Yeah, I'm putting him mid. I'm putting him mid, and that's like the best. That because his whole everything to get to that point as well is just kind of like like Curseblade Labirith. This is
Labyrinth, I think. Yeah.
Labyrinth. This is the person that turns invisible, and you have to see them stepping on in the water, and it's that circuit blade asshole.
Yeah.
I don't hate these.
I don't find them fun.
But
this one seems to be less aggressive than the actual ones just roaming about. This one seems to be like actually tuned properly, where it attacks sometimes and then is chilling the other times. I don't know. I would say I'll give my rating for this one first. I think this boss is just mid, honestly, because it's just a dungeon and then there's just a mid. Like this is just a mid boss that you fight.
Yeah, I feel like mid is fair for it.
Yeah, I agree. Mid's fine.
All right, Dancer of Ranah or Ranah.
This
I
bitch
like this
in-
fight.
This
I like
bitch
it.
input reads like a motherfucker.
Yes,
She really
cringe,
does.
cringe.
Yeah.
It's actually in her
It's
coding.
so
It's
funny.
actually in her coding. It's cringe as fuck. But I honestly, other than that, I think it's fine. I think she's a fine fight.
Yeah. And I found a weird glitch with her input reading as well.
Oh,
If you go for Malekith's Blackblade on her,
yeah.
she for some reason tries to swing at you when you do it, so she ends up getting hit by both parts of it.
Oh, she just face trades it. She tries to face trade
Yeah.
it. That's silly.
It's so funny
So
Destined
because it
Death,
knocks you
I
on your
eat
butt
that.
whenever you get hit by the full
she's
thing.
like, Destined Death, sign me up. Where would y'all rate her then?
Ah,
I'm vibing.
B, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
vibing
we're all
with
just
her.
I think we're all in agreement. We're just kind of vibing with her, you know. All right, the Death Knight. This is with the twin axes, from what I can see in this picture.
I
Yeah.
really like these guys. I really like these guys.
I really like
They're
them.
like-
I think the one Death Knight, is it the one with the axe, the shaft axe? I think that one with
Yeah.
the big
Yeah, the
AoE
one
lightning
half
thing
axe,
is a little
yeah.
ridiculous. I think it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
I've never been mad at it though, but I'm just kind of like, all right, we're getting a little too zesty here.
As a person who uses that weapon a lot, I can confirm it's pretty stupid.
I love that.
That weapon
I love
is
it, though.
pretty
Long shaft
stupid.
is
I love
pretty-
it though.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Honestly, I think we're just vibing with these guys though. Also, I love that
Yeah.
I love that they don't have a phase 2. They just try to grab you. That's it.
Yeah, they're just like they just suck out your health.
I have one complaint about the armor. Why don't we get the cape that they get?
Oh, true.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
cape is sick as hell. And
Right.
their dungeons are pretty neat. Neat is again, some of them are a little weird sometimes, but
Their lore's also really cool. Like
yeah,
them being
the
part of
Godwin lore. Yeah, the lore is really sick. I think we're vibing with these guys, to be honest.
Yeah. I do have one note of caution for people that are using Spirit Ashes against the Death Knight.
Ooh, I already know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
They can be grabbed and have their health drained, and it will basically fill up their entire HP bar. If you're gonna use a Spirit Ash, use one that cannot be grabbed. In other words, not humanoid.
True. Mimic Tear is actually a bane unless you can burst them down way fast.
It's a bigger trap than using Mimic Tear on Melania.
Oh yikes! Ooh. Okay, so I think we're all gonna be pretty much on the same board with this one. Deathrite Bird, and it just says buffed
F.
here.
Yeah, it's just a deathrite bird.
Yeah.
Well,
The only thing that's like really annoying about it is it fucking has a bunch of grave birds around it. But
that
if you-
also half healthy with a single shot. Like hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
I'm
if-
like-
already not a fan of Deathrite Burst, and this one's just more annoying with ads. Like, it just
It's
No.
like,
Yeah.
how can we make a Deathrite Bird more obnoxious? Ads that also spam range attack at the same time this thing's swinging like a maniac towards you. All right, dude. Like, okay, okay.
Yeah, like if
It's a
you know,
gank fight
it's
for the
like,
purpose of a gank fight.
It's
Like,
literally a
if
Dark
you-
Souls 2 boss. I'll say it.
yeah, if you take the ads out beforehand, he's not that much of a problem as long as you know how to fight deathrite birds.
Yeah, but then it's just a
But,
Deathrite
like-
Bird.
Yeah. but
Also,
the
Deathrite Birds
bird-
have one of the most bullshit attacks ever when they do the sword in the ground explode 5-finger death AoE
Oh,
frostbite.
explosive ghost
Yeah.
flame.
Yeah, that shit is
From
dog
the cross
shit.
pattern, yeah.
Yeah, that shit's dog shit. And there's no way to tell exactly the direction it'll hit in. So you literally are gambling, oh, I hope it doesn't just appear under my feet and I just instantly die. Because it'll do that. It'll knock you down with the first blast, and the moment you get up, it just ticks you instantly. So you actually just get instantly killed. So there's no play around. If it appears under you, you're dead. Reset, try again.
You can jump over the AoE.
You can't jump over it, but like again, you have to try to guess, and then you could technically jump and land into it.
Yeah.
And then you're dead instantly. So like that's what I'm saying. Like there's no play around it. You just I hope I'm in the right spot. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys thoughts? What are you putting it?
F. Easy F.
I'm fine with putting him in E, but
I'm gonna say E or D because of if you're a pure damage build or a holy build, just throw in Sacred Blade and you're hitting 5-6 Ks per hit and you're
true.
chilling. You can kill him real quick. But if you're anything else, yeah, I
It's
hate it here.
obnoxious. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Suffering because this thing is just suffering and like it. once you get ganked the first time by the guardian birds, you immediately say, okay, fuck those things, and go try to kill them first, and then you fight this thing one-on-one. Then it's no longer I hate it here. But I could see the argument of I hate it here if you just walk in and all of a sudden there's 8 things attacking you and you get blasted to pieces.
Right.
Okay. Demi-Human Queen Marigga.
Marigga.
I have a petition for this.
Okay.
I want to put her in suffering, not because I was suffering, but because she suffered in, like, I literally, like, one-shot her.
I would shot her as well.
Yeah, like, the only thing going for her is she has a shit ton of demi-humans around her.
That you can pull?
And, yeah, right. And, like, maybe you lost some health on the way through those tunnels.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
mean, you get a cool sword out of it. But...
Yeah, if this was a meme tier list, I mean, it's kind of memey, but we're being serious about it. I would agree. I would say suffering because, or I would even say I hate it here because she hates it when you're there. But like,
right.
Literally, the walk up to her is harder than her.
Exactly. I would put it in D if like in all seriousness. Just 'cause it's like, where's the fun? You just walk up and just kill the shit out of her, and then like, okay, fight's done. It's a demi-human queen. Like you fought them before.
They didn't even really change her.
No,
so...
she does more damage because it's the DLC. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't even tell that she does more damage.
That's all she does. Pretty much. I think
you have to get hit by her first. So.
Exactly.
Interact with her.
Exactly. Okay, so now we have Yoda, Demi-Human Swordmaster Onze.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's an NPC fight. It's an NPC fight. I'm sorry. I would put it at B. I couldn't do more than B. It's just an NPC fight, and the fight can go usually 2 of 1 ways. Either you steamroll the fuck out of him, or like he like spams up the wazoo and it takes you extra long to deal with him. But there's never a scenario where he just like kicks your ass. I don't think really.
There is a scenario. It's when you don't respect when he does his little charging attack animation, because then he does a frostbite AOE that will one-shot you if you get frostbite.
I have gotten hit by it and it did not one-shot me.
No, yeah.
And this was while I was in someone else's world, so.
How much HP did you have left?
Not much, and I almost got frostbite.
Yeah, you can survive it pretty easily. If you got frostbite, yeah, that would kill you. But like, you'd have to take a lot of hits beforehand, and then on his actual combo, get hit by the frostbite to do it. I mean, then yeah, obviously you'd be dead. But like, we're assuming then someone's just letting this guy hit the shit out of them, even though this guy doesn't have like poise at all, so you can literally just stun lock him to death.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he does get a little bit of hyper armor when he's teleporting around.
Yeah, but. I don't know. What would y'all put him?
I'd have him in A. I loved his fight.
He's like a.
He's so silly.
He is. Yeah.
I'd fine with an A, honestly.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with A too. Plus, he's like one of the he's in what's probably going to be your first dungeon of the DLC.
True, and you get to meet speaking of dungeons, then actually you meet some of the stupidest things. The
lumps of flesh.
The super meat boys. You meet super meat boys.
That part,
That's why those things are pretty.
That drags him down because those things are
stupid.
Suffering.
Because they have a shotgun blast that can like almost insta kill you, and then sometimes if you only get like tipped by it for some reason, it does like nothing.
Yeah, because it's all dependent on how close you are to them.
Yeah. I don't know. What are y'all thinking? Y'all still thinking A? Where would y'all put him yourself?
Maybe drop him down to B.
B's fine.
Yeah, I'd say B just because the area is suffering.
Yeah, anything with the innards kind of just like, ugh. All right. This one, I don't know how people are going to take this next one here.
I probably have a really polarizing opinion on this one.
Divine Beast Dancing Line. Now, for everyone that's watching this, obviously, hopefully you didn't click on a tier list thinking there would be 0 spoilers. I even have it in the thumbnail. It'll say spoilers ahead, so please, like, if you made it somehow this far and we're like, oh my god, every boss fight, like, yeah, obviously. But, Divine Beast Dancing Line, there is 2 of them. Now, this tier list doesn't have the second version, But for you, those of you watching, if you don't care about spoilers or already know, there's obviously the Deathblight version in what is it? The Temples
Ruins of Rao.
Yeah,
the ancient
Rao.
ruins of Rao.
Now, I'll say something real quick before we start talking about it. I'm actually disappointed we didn't fight a lot of these things, and I was expecting to see one that used Deathblight, Frost, Rot, and Poison. I was surprised we didn't see one that used Rot and Poison, to be honest with you. It actually would have made sense if there was like a super duper one that used all of the elements.
I will say I do get why the one that has Deathblight does, because it is right between where the two Death Knights are, and there's Godwin faces down there, so they probably just leaked up into that area.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would have been cool to see at least like one more. But I think just the 2 was fine.
Yeah. Okay. So now, what are your actual thoughts on the actual dancing line then as a whole? Then
it's a fun fight.
I
find it to be it's a fun fight, and as like the first legacy dungeon boss that you're most likely to face, it's a good skill check to make sure that you weren't carried through the rest of the game. Like, even with phantoms, this boss is not any easier.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. This boss.
I thought you guys would hate. Usually, like every person I talk to hates this fight for whatever reason. I do.
Really?
Not know why.
I love this fight.
The most common complaint I hear is when he does the spinning breath attack, and if you're locked onto him, the camera goes really fucky if you're like too close.
Oh,
it does
maybe,
kind of get fucking weird.
Quick thing.
Hard to play, locked off.
We actually need to talk about this because we didn't talk about that as a grading thing as well. But the soundtracks as well for these fights.
Oh.
So
yeah.
real quick, going back to Bayle, absolute peak. That soundtrack is an absolute banger. And then following up immediately, I think, is the Divine Beast Dancing Line. Another absolute banger of a soundtrack. It makes the fight 10 times more enjoyable when you are just like vibing to the music while also getting your ass kicked by a boss.
Phase 2 for Divine Beast Dancing Line in like particular is probably like one of my favorite like phase transitions, because it like I don't know, just like the timing of it when he does the fucking lightning roar is just. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I heard Actman and then someone else, I can't remember the other guy's name. They were talking about how they don't like the lightning version. What do you guys think? Because they were saying that you can't attack during it. Do you agree? I'm only using that video as a reference, but like I never found the lightning version to be too problematic. It's just you have to be very careful with it.
Very much depends on your build, but like I never really had like saw there really being an issue with his lightning version. Yeah, there's a lot of projectiles around. But I feel like that's just that fight.
Yeah. I would actually go as far as to say... Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I usually do not get a good window to attack during lightning phase, because every time I try to, he just fires a lightning bolt in my face real quick, and that's not cool. So I see where the point is. Yeah, in the lightning phase, the windows to hit are much shorter than the other two.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of AoEs that you have to be very aware of, so you don't, roll into them. But at least they show you where they're at before they land.
Senessax.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this hot take. I hate the ice phase the most. I don't mind the other two.
Yeah,
I like the ice phase the most.
I do think the ice phase is cool though. To dodge the one attack, you have to jump like sideways. I think that's really neat when he does like the foot stomp. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then the Deathblight one, real quick. If anyone's watching this also for tips or something, I mean, I don't know why you would be, but if you are and you're trying to get some like gee-whiz information, the Deathblight version, you actually have to stay closer to it when it starts using Deathblight, because the Deathblight, it actually keeps proccing as the cloud goes outwards. So if you try to run away from it and the cloud is coming towards you, you are actually running in it. You have to stay close to him. That way it goes past you and goes through you, and it doesn't keep activating.
Yeah, though with the Deathblight one, you also have the option of just getting on torrent to run away from its shit.
True.
But
You have also Basilisk to deal
Yeah.
with, but
yeah, you can also if you have like a great bow or magic, you can just cheese it from above a cliff if you want. But...
yeah, that is sad, honestly, because the soundtrack is so good for it too. It's like, nah, I actually want to fight.
I
you.
mean, it can summon basilisks on you up there.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, it will summon basilisks up on you. It's not that it can. Every time it does its Deathblade attack, it will summon them on you.
Yeah, they keep responding. But where would y'all put it then for rankings then?
I'd put it
That's
in
definitely
A
an
tier.
A.
A,
Yeah.
okay, we're all in agreement then. It's an A tier. And I love that it's a skill check to people that were carried or speed ran to the DLC. It's like very much like, no, you're going to have to learn how to dodge stuff now. Like, I think that's really cool. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. It's a good fight. Next. It's a Falling Star Beast. Mid, right? Can we all agree
Yeah.
on this? We're not going to really discuss this. It's in a
like,
boring area.
They don't change it at all. I mean,
I like
it
Falling-
drops a cool
yeah.
spell, but
I like Falling Star Beast, but yeah, it's like the fucking fifth one you fought at this point. Who cares?
Exactly. Okay, Furnace Golem we're not covering. These aren't bosses. This tier list for some reason has them added here. They don't have boss health. There's not a single Furnace Golem ever that you fight that ever does get a health bar. We're not talking about it.
I mean,
if you want to see us label it, cool. I'm not going to put it on the tier list. If you guys want to rate it, that's fine, but it's not a boss. So it doesn't even meet the criteria of this where it has a boss health bar and has a name under it.
it is a mini boss, so I guess that's why they put it there, because it doesn't respawn.
There's also another
However,
mini boss that's not on
yeah.
here, technically. Then that we're not going to talk about, but we can bring it up when we get closer to that point, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll head to this one. This is probably one of the first bosses you also fight, the Ghost Flame Dragon version 1.
Cringe.
I think the Ghost Flame Dragons are cool. Very aesthetically,
Design-wise?
it does make sense that they would exist. Like fucking a zombie dragon is fucking cool.
It is very.
I personally don't like fighting them, but that's because like my preferred build does shit damage to them because they resist magic.
No,
Yeah.
I fought them now 3 times solo. Right, that's not me trying to flex, but like just I fought this thing 3 times and with 3 different builds, and the one time I insta killed it. I showed you guys that clip, right? It took me less than a minute to kill it instantly. But that was like such a specialized build to do it. The other 2 builds is just like, oh god, dude. Okay, let's deal with it. All of its attacks and stuff too. With the extra stomp, does now fire damage, and then that point blank AOE phase change essentially. That shit got me the first time because I was like, oh god, what's happening? And then I just got vaporized. Like that shit was wild. But it's like
Right.
it's a more aggressive, like I think less fun normal dragon type.
Yeah. But since it's undead, as long as you have some anti-undead stuff, you're fine.
Or strike.
Strike, holy damage, specifically like Sacred Blade, Sacred Order, stuff like that.
Yeah, but
It'll
since
die
you have
really quick.
you have a build that can make good use of those.
Exactly.
Just a physical build or a holy build.
A lot of the problem is
They
a
can
lot of
make good
players
use of
won't. A lot of players won't have a bunch of weapons. That takes like either veterans or people that are looking to have multiple types of weapons for different scenarios, which is a little bit more forethought than I think what a lot of the average players will do. I don't know. For me personally, I think this boss is just a D. I don't think it's deserving of like a mid because it can be just very unfun at times.
It can be. And like like this thing covers some surprising distance with its charging attacks.
Yeah, and where you find them at is pretty lame. This Ghost Flame Dragon is pretty lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, D's where I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it C because of like, honestly, they're harder in co-op than they are in single player.
Yeah.
Because every time I try to fight one of them in co-op, I'm sitting there just trying to chase it because it runs away constantly. Because this one has a jump back that the regular Drakes do not have. And it will use it constantly when you are in its face.
Yep. I mean, this just goes into the second one, Ghost Flame Dragon 2. I'm going to put this one higher, I think, myself. only because it's a Cerulean Coast, and Cerulean Coast is so beautiful to look at. It's like the same. I don't care that it spawns skeletons. Like, who cares? Like, this thing moves around so much. This thing moves around so much, the skeletons are almost irrelevant already because they'll never be where this thing ends up because it just moves too much. Like, so it's just like, okay, you spawn skeletons. Oh, they'll never get close to me because I'm too busy chasing you in the first place.
It does also have a much better arena.
Yes.
Also, I found out that if you get far enough in Ymir's questline, you can summon Yolan to help with this fight.
Jesus.
But like,
there's a third Ghost Flame, by the way, real quick. So I don't want to cut you off. There is a third Ghost Flame, but it's just version 1, just to clarify. That's the one right after the fight with Black Knight Edredd. There's a Ghost Flame right there, depending on how you approach it. So just to clarify, both of those Ghost Flames are the same. The one in the lake and the one there. This Ghost Flame version 2 is the only one at Cerulean Coast. It's the one of its kind. Just real quick to clarify.
Yeah, just because it has that move where it can summon skeletons.
Yeah, I think it's seaworthy, just because it's just a better experience overall. I think here.
I'm chill with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this will be divisive between us. Golden Hippo.
So
why? Just why?
I never fought this thing the change where with its grab attacks.
Oh,
so
you
I
didn't?
can't speak on that.
Oh yeah, it's cringe.
Yeah, I could speak on that.
But at least from like the one time I fought it, it wasn't too bad. It's just a slightly more complicated version of the hippos you find out in the overworld.
I think it's way more aggressive too, to be honest. Just
it is more aggressive.
Bring that up. Yeah.
But like it's like a mid fight.
My main complaint is that it's neither golden or hippo. So like, what the fuck is that name?
You know what? I mean, right off the bat, we can't even name a boss properly. Like, yikes, that's kind of sad. And then 2, the arena, definitely not right for this thing. Jeez, oh man.
No,
I think
the arena is way too small.
Yeah, that arena is very small.
And then pre-nerf, the grab was complete garbage. Post, it's an arena. The problem is the arena is literally so small. The grab can start from one side of the arena and end at the other end of it. That's how bad this is. So like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's mid. But I don't actually think I hate it all too much. I think I would put it at least in D. I don't know about you guys. Where would you guys place it?
I'd have it in D or E, not because of the grab, but because of the thorn attacks in the second phase just do so much damage and they're harder to dodge.
Yeah.
Especially when it decides to go roly-poly mode.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I'm probably fine with D. D sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'm fine with D myself.
Yeah, there's a few.
It's just not a well-designed boss.
No, not really. Okay, this one. So technically, again, there should be 2 of these here because there's technically 2 of these bosses. You can summon cooperators in one of them, and you can summon Spirit Ash in the other. But this is Jagged Peak Drake. First is the big one that's right before you start proceeding upwards to Bayle, and the second one is technically before Egon's second part of his quest, where it's the 2 drakes fighting each other. Just so we're clear on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's not a difference in movesets between the 2 of them. The only difference is one's fighting another dragon.
Yep.
The other one's just asleep. So,
what are y'all thoughts?
All I can say is these are kind of just mid. They're just dragons.
Yeah.
Like, they have more health, they have more damage, they have a couple new attacks, but they're just a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would agree.
Hit him in the head.
We're literally
Don't go
in
for the
agreement.
freaking feet, people. Stop doing that. Go for the head.
Man, dude, I agree, though. It's so annoying. Please hit dragons in the head. Don't hit them in the feet. You make it harder for
Their
everyone.
movesets are a lot more predictable if you hit them in the head, and they, stay still more.
You also do more damage. Just saying.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say it. This fight's mid. It's not...
I would put it lower than that.
What? You don't like bullet hell? Are you saying you don't like bullet hell?
Funny thing with me with Jori, I killed him so fast that he never got to summon his minions.
Yeah, I've had... Yep.
But, like, and even then, like, The man was doing like no damage. I was right up in his fucking face with Dark Moon Greatsword. And he was getting jump attack spammed by me and my Mimic tier. So
Yeah.
man
My
couldn't do shit.
My second time fighting him, I memed on him. I just pulled up Misericord and I Dark Souls 1'd him.
Ah, I see. I don't know. I think the fight's... I don't know about you guys, but I think the fight's mid. Like, other than if you let Bullet Hell get too out of control, it can be kind of annoying. But, like, otherwise, it's literally just, like, some lame dude.
I just don't think it's... I don't think it's, like, shit, but I don't have fun with it, so I'd put it in D.
It's boring. Where's the fun in the fight?
True. No, that's true, actually. No, I agree. That's true. Yeah, I think that... Yeah, that's definitely a D. That's a D.
I can't put him any lower than that because he unlocks a very interesting area.
One of the best areas, if you ask me. Maybe the best area, aesthetic-wise. But yeah, we'll get to that soon. We're almost there.
We're almost to the one.
To the guy. Okay, so we have Lamenter next. The best thing about this fight, I'm gonna say it right now, is the little voice thing you get that makes you cry out going.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate this so much. I know Colton agrees with me on that. I hate it.
So
He's just a
weird.
goofy little guy.
Yeah. I don't think the fight is fun.
No, the fight is bull.
Like the fight's weird. Like it's an NPC that occasionally clones himself, and if you don't get rid of the clones, you get insta killed. But
Yeah.
And if you don't have big AoE attacks, it's very obnoxious, and it becomes a lot harder.
Oh yeah.
So like
it's a problem if you don't have any AoEs because there's a lot of them.
that was
And
like
they
six,
can
I
all
think.
hit you.
yeah, I
it's like
think he summons like 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think we're all just in agreement then. The D goes.
Yeah, D's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, best thing about him is the little voice box for sure. Okay, so this is gonna be I'm interested to see what everyone else says, but Messmer the Impaler.
He's... I want to say S, but like I don't know. He could be an A for me too.
My
I
I
wanna
would
say
have him
S
in
for
S
him.
because he. What?
Yeah, I was saying S.
You're gonna say S?
Like,
Okay.
He's such an amazing fight. I love fighting him, but holy crap, his freaking combos, they last forever.
Yeah, they last a
Amazing
long time.
spectacle, fun
no-
to learn,
Yeah.
but wow, he does not stop.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a straight A from me.
I said it in my live stream, I think, when I was streaming this. But Messmer, the best way I can describe him is just spear vomit. That is literally what you're looking at on the screen.
yeah, spear vomit into snake vomit.
I actually prefer Phase 2. I find Phase 2 a lot more fun. If I'm gonna say it.
I find Phase 1 a lot more fun because in Phase 2, I can't see shit.
I actually don't have a problem with any type of visuals with Messmer at all. I've actually never had a problem with that. Personally, though, the way I described it before is, and this applies to a later boss, which I want to talk about a lot more, just because of like the concept of how the boss works with the game mechanics and stuff. But Messmer, when he's attacking, all I feel like is that he's just some dude swinging. He feels like some random new player during invasions that's just swinging at everything that moves, versus like a later boss we'll get to, where it feels like the attacks are very deliberate. So it just feels like some guy's just swinging wildly in front of me, and it's like, okay, I guess I'll just start spamming rolls everywhere to try to avoid it. Yeah. And I know that's not necessarily the case, but that's what it comes off as.
Honestly, the way I kind of see it is like, Messmer's lost his touch a little bit, and he's just fucking bored. But
Yeah,
just
I don't
because
think
he's just
bored.
been
He's definitely
kinda-
is bored.
yeah, man is fucking bored, is out of his fucking mind. Like, mongrel intruder.
Man just couldn't give enough of a shit.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so you two said S, right? And then Justin, you said you would put him at A or S.
You can convince me on this. Like, yeah, that's.
So
I said A, not S.
Oh, you said A? I thought you said S.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Nah, I'm an A.
Honestly, I'm there. I think he's a good fight even after fighting him a few times. I don't think like he's hyped up, obviously, super huge, but the way Bayle is versus the way Messmer is, and even like the Divine Beast dancing line, I don't get the same feeling. Like when I fight Bayle, I'm like, oh hell yeah. When I fight Messmer, I'm like, oh cool, it's Messmer.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I toss out my summon to signs or to the pools in the DLC, and I get summoned into the Dark Chamber, I'm like, cool, I get to fight Messmer again.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he's not the boss I'm like most excited to fight. We'll get to that in a bit.
yeah.
But
I know who's gonna be on S for you. I think in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, yeah, exactly. We're gonna save one of the bosses for last. I think it just is fitting that we save one of these bosses for last, and I think we all know who it is. So I don't need to say it. We just know who the final boss we're gonna cover is, because I think it's important that they are done last on purpose, because it's gonna be the most important talked about thing. Even though we are going in order, we're gonna switch it up. But we're heading to Metyr, Mother of Fingers. All right, so we already talked about it before, right? The whole finger thing is stupid. So this boss is already not doing good, because you have a bunch of stupid, tedious tasks to run around and take care of. And I'm going to reference Ackman again. He said that it felt like an Ubisoft quest line. And I think that's the best way to put it. It feels like an Ubisoft quest line. Go to this barren open wasteland that does nothing, do a thing, and then come back and do it again, and then fight a boss.
Yeah, and
Damn.
I'm also not really a fan of the boss itself. Like, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, like,
One attack in the attack where if you're on the side of her and she does the really like fast poking finger move, that
Yes!
that thing literally drives me insane.
I knew you were going to say that. I was like, I bet you he's going to say the attack where she runs at the sideways, because that shit comes out like instantaneously, and if you're point blank, like you cannot get away from it.
It also hits like 20 times. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
pretty much just
joking.
die instantly if it touches you. Yeah, no.
Metyr's a very weird fight from my personal experience. Because either it goes super smoothly, or everyone dies so fucking fast to her.
Yes. There's no in between with her. From what I've seen, there's no in between. Either you breeze through her fight, or it's miserable. I'm gonna reference my stream again because of it. I killed her so fast, hitting the Fingussy with my dual bleed curved swords. I was like, oh, she's dead. And then I went back and did it with a Strength Faith build character, and had literally the worst experience of my life against her. I just was not having fun. And it's just like, okay, I feel like a boss shouldn't be so polarizing between two different builds. Like, that's not, to me, that doesn't scream good boss fight then. If it's like two different builds have like such a drastic difference in experience. But what would y'all think? What would y'all say for scoring wise though? Like, if you have any other thoughts on it? And one thing I know was brought up before, and I agree with it too, is like a lot of her attacks, she just goes in the air and says, "No, you're not touching me." Like a lot of the time, and then it becomes another like Toho like bullet hell dodger.
There's like, I've fought her a ton of times. There's one attack I still don't know how to fucking dodge. She only uses it in phase 2. But it's that attack where she goes up into the air, shoots a giant fuck you laser that circles around her.
You have to
you have to get point blank. It's point blank.
Yeah, you have to get close to her.
Yeah, except she's doing an AoE right next to herself.
No, you have to get up to the AoE and then stop at that AoE, and then you just kind of run in circles around her. But I can't dodge the spin attack. I have to still get better at that. Where she spins above you and then slams down on you. That shit always hits me.
The one where she turns into a UFO.
Yeah,
I reference it as the Beyblade move.
Both are so good, dude. Yeah, oh my god, yeah, no. But what would y'all rate her then?
She's like I hate the fight, but I kind of like lore surrounding it a bit, so she's like I put her at like a C or a D.
Honestly,
I'd put her lower.
End up putting in her a D.
D?
I was thinking more of a B myself, but
that's so
you
funny.
like her way more.
That's so
the
funny.
other reason why I'm not putting her in suffering is because she gives me the Crimson Amber medallion too, or the
+1.
the Seed medallion too. One, it's one, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna
That's
have
the
to.
only thing.
I think I'm gonna have to go. God, I don't know what I would. Ooh, that's just hold on. I'm gonna have to just go with. I think I'm gonna have to just go with. It's tough. Nah, I think I'm gonna have to go with D. I don't think she's.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but because you can go from insufferable to like easy mode, that's not fun. That's just not a fun idea to tell someone like, hey, by the way, this boss you're gonna fight will either be a joke or it's gonna be the biggest pain in your ass. Like, and telling someone that I don't think is a good measure of a boss then.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have Mr. Depths of Your Foolishness.
Yes.
Midra.
I'm just gonna start with where I'm putting him. S.
Yeah, same. He's one of my favorite.
I'd agree with that.
Okay, so we're all in agreement. It's just obvious. And then
Like, Midra's such a cool fight.
Midra's a cool fight, got good moves, does good damage. It's not ridiculous. He doesn't spam. You have a lot of time to play around with him when you're fighting him. Even his phase 1 is so cute and adorable. It's some little dude trying to jump on you, which is hilarious.
He's like, get the fuck out of my house.
Exactly. The aesthetic before you get to him, the Abyssal Woods, is amazing. I think one of the greatest things ever, like aesthetically for this game. Honestly, like just how it looks and all that is just absolutely crazy. I love it.
Yeah, they definitely nailed the mood on the area.
Yes, I actually think Midra's Manse is too small. I don't think it's long enough.
Yeah, it could be bigger.
I was sad when it was like, oh, I'm fighting the legacy boss already. Damn, I was hoping for more, honestly. Okay.
Yeah, it is a very short area, but like, I think that's fine with what you had to deal with beforehand.
True.
That's
true.
The Abyssal Woods could like almost be just considered part of Midra's Manse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The untouchable, the ancient untouchables or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the aging
Just
untouchables.
call them what they are.
Oh, winter
They're
lanterns.
winter lanterns.
No, but they're different enough from winter lanterns.
I actually prefer them over winter lanterns.
Yeah,
Crazy enough.
I prefer them
Yeah.
over winter lanterns too. Like, fuck winter lanterns.
Yeah, those things are an actual problem.
I think in
yeah.
in the coding for Elden Ring, I think they're actually
They're called
referred
winter
to
lanterns.
as
Yeah,
winter
they are.
lanterns,
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
this.
they're called winter lanterns.
Yeah, so this next boss I think is going to be divisive again. I think everyone's going to have it in a general category near each other, but I think also there might be a few wild ones. The Putrescent Knight.
Suffering.
It's so hard to judge the Putrescent Knight for me personally. Mostly because at least getting summoned as a phantom for it, like, you rarely get to actually fight him.
Yep.
Because you have to wait until they drop down all the way, then you can enter the fog gate, run up to the end, and jump down.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
hope they
exactly.
survive by the time you get there.
And most average Elden Ring rando co-opers cannot survive more than 2 seconds by themselves against a boss. Now, make that a hyper-aggressive boss on top of it. You just wasted 45 seconds at minimum to, like, 3-4 minutes. So, like, yeah.
And especially because of its favorite attack to do when you drop down in is its double charge, where it runs at you and its horse runs at you. And some people don't know how to unlock on a boss fight and end up getting absolutely obliterated by it.
Yeah, instant death. Instant death.
Yeah, like, that move isn't too bad. I've got it down to a fucking science at this point, but like, so many people do not know how to dodge it.
Yeah. Okay. I will say this. This boss is so important though for story, which is so crazy about it. Like, and the area preceding it isn't even that bad. Like, getting to him isn't even that bad. It's, excuse me. It's literally just like the fight itself.
Yeah, I mean, the little laser guys can be kind of annoying, but
yeah,
but that's about it. And like, there's some cool items you get on the way there too. So
yeah. So what are y'all thinking then in terms of where would you put it then?
Suffering. Just because every time I try to help with that fight, I just can't because they die immediately.
I have a comment on that when it's my turn. I'll make a comment about why
I'd probably put it
placing
in mid, but
Mid.
I'm like a B or a C because like
Really? Okay.
I've yet to co-op the game, so I can't speak on the not being able to do anything. I soloed the entire game my first playthrough, and
Yeah.
I beat that boss in like 3 tries. It was whatever.
I don't like. Okay, so before I get my rating, I totally get that. I've never personally had fun fighting this boss, but there's two things I don't like. I don't like the way its hitbox is on it. And that'll be another boss I talk about too. I talk about how I don't like that. I don't like where you can hit the boss at. It feels like it doesn't work that well. But then also too. The whole concept of like, because again, this is for co-op. Solo, it's not a problem. Like you just drop down whatever. But for co-op, it's so much worse. For co-op, like soloing, it's fine. And just for clarification here, for everyone wondering, again, I'm gonna reference this back to my streams I have up now on a playlist. I did solo the entire game and every boss. So before I have people leaving in the comments like, oh, well, you're talking about co-op. It's like, no. Soloed it first, and then, trying to help others out and stuff like that. Yeah, like Colton said, people just don't live long enough. And same thing with what Kurumi said. People just don't live long enough for this, for the boss fight to be possible in co-op, really. And then if you do live long enough, as soon as you get to phase 2 with the giant fire attacks and stuff, no one survives that. So, like, it's almost always an L just because of how the boss is. And I think the whole concept of having to wait to then get into the world, to then have the person fall, to then go into the fog wall, to then also fall down, like, if you're co-oping this exclusively, it's so much worse. But I think if you're just fighting the boss by itself, I don't know. I don't enjoy it. I think I'd have to put it in D myself to just like be like, tell me where it's supposed to be fun at, because I don't ever enjoy fighting this thing. Like, I've never had a good experience with this thing ever, myself personally.
Yeah, the first few times I fought it, I hated it. I've grown to like it a lot more now, but I'm glad I do, because aesthetically, I love this boss.
Yeah.
It looks so cool.
It's cool. If I fight it more...
Yeah, it looks cool. It has a very nice weapon that it gives you for arcane builds. Because arcane builds literally have no other option for Frostbite. Because they're not a strength build. They're not a dex build, usually. If you're completely occult, you have no option.
Yeah, my opinion might change on this boss. This is the boss where I think I could potentially go to like it more. But as of right now, I just can't see myself having fun with it. Anytime I interact with this boss, solo or co-op, I just don't have fun. And so because of that, I'm putting it in D. But this is one of those bosses, for people that are listening and not just going to the end. Yeah, I think this is where I could possibly say it's mid, and maybe if I get super comfortable with its hit patterns, maybe go to B at best.
Yeah.
All right. So we're skipping this next person. I think it was obvious. I said it before. That's going to be the final thing we talk about, because that guy that thing needs to be discussed importantly. So we're going to Rakshasa next.
Rakshasa is a cool fight.
It's a cool fight, but I absolutely do not like it.
Same.
For the two reasons, and two of those reasons are the weapon he's carrying. One, it gives him hyper armor. Two, the weapon art gives him even more hyper armor. So, like, he just spams that in your face every time you try to hit him.
Yeah, her weapon is stupid.
Yeah, they also have, like, infinite stamina. I kid you not, one of the times I fought him, he literally stayed in that stance, like, permanently. He just never left it.
They said, time to start cutting the grass.
I was like, what am I supposed to do here, man?
We're cutting weeds today.
Yes, sweep through them like a scythe through weeds. Honestly, I think this fight, just because of the from what y'all are telling me, I haven't experienced it too badly yet. I don't think it's a vibe, though. I think because, yeah, the fact that they can just spam this crazy Ash of War nonstop, it just... I'm going to say...
You can't really knock him out of it. If you want to knock him out of it, you have to headshot him.
I'm gonna
The
say
best
it's
time I've had with it is
that.
spamming the Claws of Night Ash of War in his face.
Yeah.
Because it headshot him every time.
I'm gonna say it's mid.
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, like, I mean, the weapon and gear you get from her are cool, but
Yeah.
that's about it, really.
Would y'all agree then? It's about a mid.
Yeah, mid is
It's a
fair
mid
enough.
to no fun.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think definitely if they just start spamming the Ash of War, it can become very unfun very quickly.
Bear.
First big bear.
Bear.
B for bear. Got it.
I'm gonna say it's kind of mid. It's
Yeah.
a bear boss. About it.
I mean, they gave him more AoEs.
I don't
But-
like rune bears already, and this is just a worse rune bear.
Yeah. As I say, if you don't like rune bears, this thing's probably the bane of your existence. I learned how to fight rune bears, and I was just kind of like, it's just a rune bear.
But, like, funny enough, I found these red bears easier than the base game rune bears.
Really?
Same. I actually
Yeah.
find them easier than Rune Bears
That's
as well.
crazy.
Fun fact about these, a single sleep pot will put them to sleep. And they have a slower recovery time than Rune Bears do. So you can get off an Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike, throw
Oh,
another pot at them to put them back to sleep, and do it again and repeat.
That's funny. Okay, honestly, I think we just covered both of the bears right now then.
They're the
yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the
Mid.
same.
And this one just has a bullshit roar attack mid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Like,
say it.
mm.
And then speaking
If
of
you
bears,
really want to cheese them or get rid of them, just get some Eternal Sleep Pots, throw it at them, and just spam your AoE of choice.
yeah. Speaking of bears, though, now we have Mr. Red Bear
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah, bear man.
He's
Here's
like
a
a
meme.
B. He's like a B.
Like, he's the easiest of the fucking mausoleum ghosts.
Yes.
He's like the last one you fight, too.
Yeah, right. But he's silly.
I think he's the most vibing one of them all, though, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's just literally doing his own thing. Okay. Now this one, I think we'll have it. We'll have her pretty much in the same spot, but I'll be curious to see. Ranah, the Twin Moon Knight.
Like an A.
I would say an A or an S, because I really love her fight. The visuals are cool. Her spells are cool. The only thing is, she is a bit spammy, but, like, she's a mage. What'd you expect?
Yeah. I'm putting her in S tier myself.
Also,
Testing.
I love her fight.
how does she not get a cutscene, yet me draining the water from Shadowkeep gets a fucking cutscene?
Right?
True.
Yeah, you're right. But I
Also,
did
she's
disrespect her
completely
hard, so
fucking
I'm giving her an
optional.
S tier.
Like, you can just skip her entirely.
True. She
So-
is optional, technically.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm giving her the S tier because of, I'm gonna be honest here, I disrespected her really bad
She,
by killing her with Golden Parry.
I want to parry her and learn how to do a lot of that. I don't know. I don't know if I would put her in S
Yeah.
tier because I think a lot of her spammy frame trappy stuff can be pretty obnoxious.
I know parrying her, at least from what I've heard, makes her a joke. So
Yes.
do guard counters.
Yes,
Um,
she has no poise.
Golden Retaliation as well.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I could give her an S myself personally, but I don't think she's nearly as difficult as people are making her out to be. And again, she incorporates you have to learn how to use the jump mechanic.
Yeah.
With her moons, so it's like awesome, sick. That's
Yeah.
fine.
She's also explicitly designed to roll catch people. So she punishes people who panic roll.
Yeah, that's
So-
actually really funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would put her at A, but she could maybe go up to S maybe, but I think A is a nice strong spot for her. Now we have Colton's S here.
I love Romina. She is such a fun fight. I have fought this boss so many times.
I feel so bad for Romina, dude. God. This is the other
Like,
boss,
she-
by the way, real quick. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, but this is the other
Yeah,
boss
go
I was
ahead.
talking about. I don't think her hitbox is very well designed.
Oh.
I think it's weird that like the camera when you lock on to try to fight her, it like locks onto like the female upper body part of her, which gives you like this weird attack area that you go into for her, which I think can cause attacks to miss. That might just be a personal gripe, but I don't like that.
It's not a problem really for spells, but for melee attacks, I can see it being an issue.
Yeah, in melee, I had to definitely unlock for it because it just doesn't work. But if
Yeah.
I'm ranging her, yeah, the lock on is perfect because she takes more damage on the body than she does on anything else. On the human body.
Yeah, Romina is also very much a boss with a lot of get off me attacks. She tries to get you away from herself as much as possible.
Makes sense. Yeah.
She is easily the boss I've helped people with the most. Just because I have such a fun time fighting her, and she unfortunately comes at a very bad time where you've gotten most of the Scadutree fragments, so you're just gonna destroy her. But if you come early, she actually survives long enough to
Fight back.
to take a beating, to fight back. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I fought her way towards the end, and I've only fought her once, and I beat her my first try, so I can't really speak a whole lot.
I've beaten her my first try each time too. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not hard at all.
No, she's. I think the aesthetic is so beautiful and pretty with her.
Yeah.
And the area before her is also beautiful and pretty too. So it's like you get a double with that.
I will say, co-oping, helping other people, they do not know to stay the fuck away from her when she's transitioning to phase 2.
Oh, they just run into the butterflies?
Yeah, they just melt in the butterflies surrounding her.
That's funny. That's so silly.
That's like the only issue I have with her, and it's just people being stupid.
Yeah, that's not even a her problem. That's just a them problem.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Elden Ring player.
So we already know Colton's. He S tier for her. Oh, what about you guys?
I guess going off of my one time fighting her briefly, she was cool. I like the aesthetic a lot for sure. I'd go like an A.
A, okay.
I'd go A or B because like she's fun, she's cool, but she's not like got the level of polish that I like for the S tier bosses.
She also doesn't have that oomph, that oomph factor for me. Like I can't put her in S. She just doesn't have that oomph factor where it's like, oh hell yeah, like it's like, oh cool, I like Romina, she's cool, but like that's about as far as it goes. I don't ever fight. I'm like, oh my god, that's the thing that does it for me.
Yeah, and I will say her music is fucking fire.
Her music is really good too. Yeah, a lot. It's crazy too. A lot of the S tier bosses, their music is also crazy good.
And like, if you actually listen closely to Romina's music, you hear bits of Melania's theme in it.
That makes sense.
Her Rite is what Melania's could have been if Melania truly embraced it.
Instead of fighting it, so Melania gets the gross yucky
instead
rot.
of fighting back.
Melania gets the gross yucky rot, and then Romina gets the nice beautiful rot. That's crazy.
Yeah, because Romina found safety in the Rite, and she embraced the children of the Rite.
Crazy.
So,
I don't know. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna give it to her. I think with everything else going on as well, I think she can get the A. I would put her an A for that. Just because of everything in like aesthetics and stuff like that, and then like you need her to get to the final area, so it's like cool, and it's almost like a nice break for what's about to come, kind of deal.
right.
So now I think this one here, my opinion's definitely changed on this boss quite a lot. But the Scadutree Avatar.
Yeah, Scadutree Avatar. I'm gonna say mostly because of the two of my builds that I went through with it. Because their range, not too bad. Just aim at the head. It does run away a lot, so you will have to chase it. If you're a melee build, suffer.
I lucked out, and I was using the exact like weakness that like it's weak to strike fire, and I just like literally like deleted this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
like
doesn't have
just
that much
like
HP per phase, but Jesus Christ.
yeah, because it's like 7,000 phase 1, then 13,000 phase 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had flaming strike on the Black Steel Great Hammer. That thing.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
goodbye.
Oh yeah, you're gonna melt it.
Yeah. Honestly, so originally I might have put this thing at D or C. I think I'm gonna put I think I'm gonna put it at B for myself. Just because it's
Yeah,
grown on
that's
me,
kinda
and it's
where I
like
have it.
it's just kind of like it can be a problem if you get close range and it kind of just goes ballistic and spams a bunch of stuff, or if you're co-oping. But otherwise, it's not that bad. I don't
The
think.
fact that it's a sunflower is also goofy. I just
Yeah,
like that.
it's
a
that's also
giant sunflower.
Lovecraftian for sure too,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. And
Yeah.
the arena's pretty sick looking.
I'd have it
and
at B as well.
like it's also a lot easier to dodge than a lot of people think.
Yes.
At least a lot of its attacks are, because you can dodge things that look like they shouldn't be able to be dodged.
Yes.
So I have a lot of fun fighting the Scadutree Avatar.
Where would you put it at then?
But
This
I'd say B is fair
B?
for it.
Okay.
I'd probably put it there also.
That did you say what you would do with it, or
Yeah, B's
B?
cool with me.
Yeah.
Everyone's
sick.
going B.
Everyone's going B.
Like,
yeah,
the only-
yeah. Okay.
The only time you ever have trouble is if you can't hit the head.
Yes, then it can be a pain in the butt. This next one is kind of silly. I don't know why it says Tree Sentinel ×2 buffed, but I get it. Technically, it's just both Tree Sentinels, but then how come Jagged Peak Drake doesn't get this? But you can fight both Tree Sentinels, by the way, one at a time. You do not have to aggro both of them. You can literally fight one to its entirety without the other one even aggroing at all or noticing that you're killing, his comrade.
Yeah. Like the shield one, you actively have to lead the other one to it, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what? You just kill these one at a time. I'm gonna say it because it's DLC. It's a mid fight. No
Yeah,
discussion needed.
So whatever.
Yeah,
Right?
for the DLC, it's mid. Yeah,
The area is beautiful aesthetically. Everything else around it, beautiful. But it's just two
yeah.
Tree Sentinels.
and I love why they're there, but
Yeah, exactly.
like, yeah, it's just Tree Sentinels. I will say the one with the torch that jumps out, it did jump scare me.
Did
the
it?
first
Oh, that's
time.
so funny.
Because I didn't know there was any enemies around. So I was just running through on Torrent, and he just charges out. I'm like, holy shit!
That is funny. That's really
He just
funny.
pulls a General Kenobi. Hello there.
Oh my god, that's so good.
Fucking, I just have a big golden horseman charge out at me.
Okay, so we're here at the finale, as it should be. We aren't even going to talk about the dude himself yet. We'll talk about just getting to him first of all, and everything you have to do. I think the getting to him is fine. I don't see a problem with it. And this is also like one of those quote unquote mini bosses that for some reason the Furnace Golem is in here, but not this, where you have to fight Letta and kill her little posse. Which
Oh
technically,
yeah, why isn't Letta in there?
Letta isn't
Why
here,
isn't
but
that?
Furnace
That is a
Golem,
boss fight.
but Furnace Golem isn't, and it's like what? So it's like okay, man, but well, no, it's technically not a boss fight because none of them have a health bar thing on it.
Fair, but
But yeah, it doesn't make sense. It technically is a boss fight, but it isn't actually a boss fight. So like, yeah, all of that. I don't think any of that's a problem. I don't think any of that is like vibe ruining or mood ruining going through it to get to the boss. I think it's actually very set up and like, nah, get ready, like something's coming.
I do like that the Letta fight is like customizable technically, because it all depends on who you've helped and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's very few that are like guaranteed to actually be there.
No, yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Okay, so obviously now we'll talk about the elephant in the room, right? Radon.
On so
Chunky man himself.
Mr. Monkey Man. What thoughts? General thoughts? Anything like specific? Literally pop off.
He's really fun. I don't know. I'm kind of a masochist when it comes to Diphily, though. Like, I don't know. I like just being murdered on repeat and having to learn it.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this, so I'm gonna save mine to the end on purpose again, only because I have a few comments that I don't know. The way I view it is kind of like crazy the way this boss fight works. So I just kind of want to hear y'all's thoughts first on it, like gripes, bonuses, negatives, things like that first before we talk about even ratings. Just kind of like overall as an experience, like.
Now, I can't really speak on this fight at all because I haven't fought them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I've only watched people fight it. From what I've seen, it's not a fight I'm personally gonna enjoy. But, like, I get why some people like it. I also get why people very much dislike it.
Yeah.
A lot of his attacks at least come off as bullshit, for lack of a better word.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
There is definitely a few attacks that I think, like, if enough. I'm honestly surprised they haven't changed it yet, just because of how many people I see complain about it. But the fucking double slash into the cross slash, that move is like very. If you go on the Elden Ring wiki, the official thing that is written there on how to counter that move is 2 frame perfect rolls to the left or right. Like, no average player is going to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I also discovered, though, I like, to varying success, I've like kind of ran diagonally into him and then rolled the last second, and sometimes that'll dodge it. I
Yes.
don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
You can also.
That's one way to dodge
You
it.
can also, by the way, I don't know if anyone's going to say this, but apparently, if you heavy roll, you can dodge the whole thing.
Yeah, heavy rolling does have an awkward dodge window with it. That works! But I don't get why we do that.
Why are we heavy
Like-
rolling on a boss? That's just not smart.
Heavy rolling on
Yeah.
that boss specifically. But there is a build that is built to take on Rajan that heavy rolls. And that's the shield tank.
I don't think it's necessary. Because I have a
I don't
lot of
think
stuff
it's
to say.
necessary
I
either,
don't think you need
but-
to do that. I just think that's kind of like wild that people need to resort to that for the boss fight.
Like the biggest issue I have with fighting him is not phase 1. Phase 1 perfectly fine, fun, easy to learn his attack windows and everything. Phase 2, I am getting flashbanged the entire time. I can't even see where I'm supposed to be dodging anymore. That's my issue. I can't see anything.
The particle effects.
And God forbid you summon someone for it, because if they die by the time phase 2 starts, he has a 3 times multiplier for his health which means him starting phase 2 at 2/3 HP, you are fighting him essentially from start to finish in phase 2. Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have bursts and stuff, then it would be a little bit easier, like bleed and stuff like that, or frostbite, but yeah.
Another thing I can speak on, the way I actually beat him was doing the deflecting hard tier, so like the Sekiro parry. Really fun if you do it that way. Like, you definitely have to like get good at it. It's for people who don't know how it works. You have to basically time like your guards within, like, I think it's like a 7 or 8 frame window or something like that. But if you do that, it doesn't use up like any stamina, and it also buffs your counter, your guard counter, for like if you do it correctly for the next
It's
like
40%,
maximum
maxing at
time.
80% roughly. Yeah.
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 So I just slapped that on with the dueling shield and just kept going for guard counters whenever I thought I could get one in,
Yeah.
and eventually after like 3 or 4 hours of just banging my head against the wall, it worked.
Yeah. You can also parry him to death. I think he acts the same way Melania does. We have to do it 3 times in a row.
It looks like he's actually easier to parry than Melania because of his moves are easier to track than Melania's.
His moves are easy. I've seen now I haven't done it myself, but I did kill Melania with parries only. And Melania, you actually have to like unlock on and then dead angle yourself on her, because she actually uses dead angles on you. So if you just try to parry her from the front, sometimes you will actually just never get the parry, and you'll just take a hit to the face. Whereas Radahn, it looks like most of his attacks you can just face tank him and there's parry. So Yeah, I think parrying him might be easier than Melania, actually.
Another complaint I have with him is his hitboxes are way bigger than they actually appear.
With some of his stuff,
so you end up getting hit at awkward angles that don't make sense with Radahn. Like, I think one nerf they could do is to shrink some of the hitboxes. Like, for instance, the double frame perfect dodge. I'm sorry, there should never be any excuse to have multiple frame perfect dodges. I get having one, but multiple? No.
Yeah.
That was actually the move that made me start doing the deflecting hard tier. I was getting so sick of trying to dodge it.
I don't like basically mandatory damage. I don't like that in any fight. I don't think it's fun. I don't think it has any place, even in a hard game.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I'm gonna kind of delve then into my thought process with this boss real quick, because there's a lot of talk about this boss and a lot of people that like will be like, oh, the attacks feel like bullshit, or it feels like no matter what happens I'm taking damage. Again, minus the frame perfect boss, the attack chain, the swipe cross, minus that, most attacks that he uses on you are so easily dodgeable. Now, one thing to also talk about though is the shimmer attacks. I don't have those mastered yet, how to perfect dodge them every time. I always end up taking hits off of the shimmers before his big attacks, so that is something that's like a skill issue thing. But I think those windows are also very tight still regardless, so that is definitely a skill factor. But talking about phase 2 specifically, the only other thing I would also add into this boss fight to say like what I would change is I would change how tight that window is for dodging the global blast with the Mikola light, because that is such a tight window that if you don't respond immediately to him doing it, you're pretty much guaranteed to get blasted by it. Now I've heard people say that they have and I'm gonna, again, one more time, I'm gonna reference Ackman. He was saying that anytime he was playing, he would drop to 20 frames. Now I don't know what rig he's using, but I'm just using the gaming laptop, and I've never had an FPS drop once while I was fighting him. And I was streaming when I fought him and never once had that issue. So again, I don't know if that's just a software, issue, conflicting whatever it is that's causing that. And if they fix that, that's good. And I understand some things that could negatively affect it if it's like a console or something and they just can't do anything about that. Like, if that gets fixed, that's good. But I don't think that's not necessarily on the boss itself. That's like on the software causing that to be an issue, not really the boss itself being the problem. Other than it might be a little tight in the window to escape it, where you have to almost immediately react to it in like less than a fraction of a second. But I actually want to talk about like the big AoE blasty things that happen after his swords. Those are actually some of the easiest things ever, and I love the way the boss like recontextualizes how to fight, essentially. Where it's like phase 1 is very much like any average boss, right? Is what you guys would you guys agree? It's like an average ordinary boss fight up to that point. Yeah. Phase 2 is very much where if you take damage in most scenarios, you usually want to get yourself distant from the boss. That way you can heal before they can throw out an attack and you can react to it. The thing with phase 2 Radahn is that the closer you are, the safer you are. It's kind of like the Four Kings in Dark Souls 1 if you played that. And for a quick reference as to people that haven't, so that they understand what I'm saying, in Dark Souls 1, the Four Kings, they did more damage, more magic damage based on how far away they were from you. So the closer you were, the more physical damage they did. So if you stayed closer, you would actually take way less damage than if you stayed farther away. So that's the end of the reference. I just want to point that out there because it's the same concept essentially. You are safer being as close as possible to Radahn as you can do, as opposed to getting away. And phase 2 exemplifies exaggerates that to the highest level. All of his attacks have that AoE blast radius afterwards. So if you keep trying to back dodge, you get punished for doing it. So it's like, stop back dodging, dodge horizontally instead of on like the Z axis, dodge on the X axis, left and right instead of front and back. And then a lot of his other attacks are just like, it's literally just, okay, you have to learn the attack chain. And then one of the things, again, that was like mentioned, was like he doesn't have a lot of time to attack. You don't have a lot of time to respond to him. The one attack chain in phase 2 where he does swipe, then he does the overhead swipe into the ground and blows the ground up. You can, after that attack, and this is in phase 1 too, you can, and I've done this, do a fully charged Colossal Sword two-handed heavy and hit him in the ass. And then also be able to dodge afterwards because he will not have recovered in time to actually hit you. You can dodge roll his attack. And that's a fully charged two-handed heavy with a colossal sword. So, like, I don't know. The notion of not being able to attack him and him being too aggressive, I always found very weird. Because it's like, there's actually so many opportunities to hit him. It's kind of crazy. There's, like, maybe 1 or 2 attacks that he does that you can't punish. Otherwise, most of it, to me, is just, like, you can just hit it no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. Trying to think, like, I would also say, his theme song, I would also say is another, like, really good thing.
Yes.
Like, for first phase
Oh, yeah,
especially.
it's good.
It's
Yes.
really just a remix of his second phase for Star Scourge Rodan, so...
Yeah, no, his theme is an absolute banger. But, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that real quick with the Rodan fight, because it's like, I get it, the fight is hard, but... And again, you know, I guess if you want to say I'm above an average Elden Ring player, fine, that's fine, whatever. But, like, if this boss is challenging you, start adapting your playstyle to the boss. You don't have to change your build. I don't think you ever have to change your build for this boss fight. But I do understand, like, particle effects, and the same thing with Miquella's hair. That shit's obnoxious when he's facing away from you and you just have Miquella's hair in your eyeballs. Like, sometimes when he's swinging, it is hard to see what he's doing because Miquella's hair is all over the place. I think there's a few tweaks they can do to make it a little bit easier to understand what's going on in the fight. I do, granted. But I've never done this fight and been like, wow, this is just, like, it doesn't feel unfair for unfair's sake. It feels like I'm messing up. I need to be better. That's what I've always gotten from the fight.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, the comet attack, as soon as you see him go up, literally just run away. Congratulations, you've dodged it. When he does
You've already learned this attack before.
Exactly. When he does the one attack where he starts spinning a bunch and then he does like the slam down attack that's literally just roll, and then pause for a second, then roll the big global AoE blast. Like, it again, it's like these are all things that you can just figure out by playing, and instead of just like bashing your head against the wall, just trying to mash buttons against him and trying to like kill him as fast as possible, if you just take the time to like learn what's going on with the fight, I don't know. I like I said, like the first time it took me 2 hours. The second time I beat him, it took me like an hour and a half. Like, the fight isn't easy, but I don't think the fight is not easy for the sake of being hard. I think the fight is not easy because it's a hard boss fight. As fitting as it should be, it's the final boss. It's like the hardest final boss in Elden Ring.
I feel like people forget they're playing a From Software game. Like, do we just like forget that they make hard games? Like,
Right.
Yeah,
It's gonna be difficult. They don't hand you anything in a From Software game. Like,
And,
they
like,
give you the tools to beat him easy if you want to beat him easy, but like you're not gonna beat him easy.
no.
And like, everyone was like already complaining about how difficult base Elden Ring was 2 years ago, and like it's been a running theme that the DLC is always way harder than the base game.
Yes.
just say I've never played a FromSoft DLC that was easier than the base game. They were always harder.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very much.
and like on top of that, Elden Ring is the most mainstream game of any of the From Software games.
Yes.
The most mainstream. So you have most people that are very casual playing this game that have no business being in a game this hard. I'm calling you out on that. Yes, I know you know who you are. Complaining about it.
I think too, this goes back to like the dancing lion, right? It's a skill check. It legitimately is just a skill check. If you've been carried by your friends, and like you can say, well, I want to co-op with my friends. Yes, that's fine. And like I will always say, play the game how you want to play, always. But at some point, you have to acknowledge if there's 3 of you in a fight and the boss doesn't have a chance to target one person for more than half a second before getting aggro drawn away, and you can just press L1 or R1 or whatever your casting tool is as a mage, or you're some physical wall that's just absorbing all the hits, or you're some bleed build or something that can just spam because someone else is tanking, you are not understanding the core gameplay mechanics of dodging bosses, and Radon challenges that. And he doesn't just challenge it in the sense that, like, you better learn how to dodge me. He also challenges it in the sense that you do not want to be far away from him. You want to be as close as possible. So these people that are used to being as far away and as safe as possible to bosses, all of a sudden have a boss that does not play that way, essentially breaking the rules, but in like a good way, it makes it seem much harder because you haven't gotten the core gameplay mechanics built in and established in yourself yet, making it seem like it's harder. Now, if you co-op all the time and you don't have a problem with the boss fight and you beat them, blah blah blah, no problem. Yeah, whatever. If you want to use whatever setup, you want to do whatever to beat them, that's fine. But it never came across that, oh my god, you need to do this for this boss fight. It's just one of those things where if you are not ready for this boss fight, it is very obvious you are not ready for this boss fight.
Yeah. And another thing to bring it back, when you bring people to fight Radahn, he is a lot harder in co-op. I already talked about the 3 times health multiplier instead of a 2 times health multiplier. But his well, I can't call them after images, but his mirage attacks,
his clone attacks,
his shadow
Yeah.
randomly
jutsu.
target.
yeah, they are entirely random. They don't choose like who they're actually targeting. They'll just pick someone that's around. So you may be trying to cast, it'll smack you. Guess what? If it smacks you, you're getting hit by the actual hit if he's coming for you. It's hard to tell when you can actually swing at him.
Yeah.
Because he might just turn on you, or he'll swing at your buddy and you get dead angled.
I will say I've tried doing deflecting hard tier co-op, and it's like pretty much impossible because
Yeah.
like if you trying to predict when he's gonna hit you when he's just constantly like switching aggro on people, it's like you have to kind of you pretty much have to guess who he's gonna be swinging at, and also if he's gonna be at like a weird angle and like when you need to press L1 during it. It's impossible. Like I just quit after like 2 times.
Yeah.
Like nope.
It's the same thing
Yeah,
with
I
parry.
don't put my summoning sign there anymore. The best times that I found to attack him in co-op are whenever he does his meteor attacks, or when he does the AoE in phase 2.
Yeah.
Those are the best 2 times to hit him in co-op, because if he's not on you, you can just sit there and hit him for free.
Yep, true. Okay. So, we've talked about it, right? I tried to explain why I think the boss fight is fine. Again, there's a few things I would definitely critique on. That the boss fight isn't, like, immune to critiques. For sure, Consort Radahn there's definitely negatives on it. But I think most of the complaints for it is just, it boils down to, honestly, just skill issue. To be precise and like upfront about it. And that's another thing too, is like I talked to Colton about this earlier, but like if you're using a build that only has long casting spells, for instance, if you're a caster, why like switch to something that's faster? And if you choose to not do that, you are choosing not to do that, not the game. The game isn't forcing you to do that. So like you can change what you cast to be something that's quicker and easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something I wanted to point out too. It's like the game is as hard as you want it to be. Essentially, you can make it very easy. But where would you put Consort Radahn then?
I personally would put him in S. I really like just everything about him. Like, yeah, there are some negatives, but like I think the positives far outweigh the negatives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have fun fighting him. Like, he's a cool boss. He teaches you a lot, but like I can't really see whenever I'm fighting him, so I just can't enjoy him.
So would you put him at D then?
I'd have him at C,
You have him at
because
C.
otherwise he's really good boss.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then
Accurately rate him. So
what would you just based on
You
what
don't
you've
have to
seen?
fight him.
Yeah, based on what you can just still give an opinion, like an uninformed opinion based on what you've seen and heard. What would you think you would give him?
based off of what I've seen and heard, he's probably gonna end up being like an E for me. But
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, because he's definitely anti-co-op. That's how I see him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah. Also, too, you pretty much have to like, at least from what I found, I have to change my build. Like, I have to just bring all healing flasks. With most other bosses, I can get away with bringing Cerulean. I will say, when I'm fighting Radahn, it's like, nah, I have to bring all Crimson. Like, eventually, I think if I get good enough, I think anyone this applies to, you can bring less Crimson. But right now, as it stands, it's like, nah, all Crimson. Like, I need as much healing as I can get out of this.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like if that's like the case, that's gonna suck for someone whose build relies on spells like myself.
Yep.
because you need the cerulean to refill your flasks. Otherwise, you're just surviving, letting it slowly fucking tick up with the blue
Yeah.
crimson or the blue dew talisman.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
that's suffering.
I think you all know where I'm gonna put it, but I will say it. I think
Yeah.
100%. I think Radahn is an S tier. The feeling of it after 2 beating him was just like so amazing, and it's like you really did just kill a god, and that is another thing too. It's like lore wise, he should be hard as hell. He's literally a god. You've killed a god.
Well, the god is Miquella. You're fighting Radahn in his prime, a demigod at the height of his power. There is no way that that's going to be easy.
And he's not even actually full power because he doesn't have his own rune.
Well, that's technically not a part of him, but
But you know what I'm saying. Like
yeah, I know what you mean.
And technically, he's like a doll to Miquella anyways. It's almost like you're just fighting Miquella as is. But yes.
Because Radahn never says a word, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Oh,
that's
hollow
it.
puppet.
That's that. Well, what's up?
He's kind of just a hollow puppet.
Exactly. So that's the tier list. But now we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna organize it. So obviously there's only one F, and that's kind of crazy to me. I didn't know if we were gonna have more or not. Suffering. So left is number 1. Right is not number 1. So do we think Commander?
I think
just for
Gaius
this
is
one.
bottom of E.
Bottom.
Yeah,
So like this.
Yeah.
The Deathrite bird has the power to be cheesed.
Like that. Yeah. Okay.
You can easily cheese a Deathrite bird.
Yeah. Okay, so now, all of the Ds. Who do we think is the least anti-fun?
Putrescent.
Yeah, Putrescent.
Because the most of his issues are dealing with co-op.
Yes, I agree.
I could see that.
Yeah, I'd say Putrescent, then Jori, then Metyr myself. Personally.
Then Metyr.
Yeah, that's
Like
what
that.
I would say.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know what
Chief,
you guys
I
all
think
think,
Chief
but-
Bloodfiend actually is like. I don't know.
He's just kind of forgettable.
He's just kind of
Like,
there.
that's his only issue.
I
Like,
think.
he's just
Yeah.
a blood fiend.
I think this has to be like this, to be honest, or
Yeah, I would agree
like
with
that. No, I think this insta kill gimmicks are not great. I think this is gonna
Yeah.
have to be how like that is organized in that.
Okay, well, if you don't like Kill gimmicks, put Marigga at the back then.
Like this.
No, Marigga. The
The Demi-Human queen.
I Killer.
Get out of here. All right, I think C tier is going to be the hardest one to honestly for us to figure out who's like the
Yeah.
least, who's the least mid.
The least mid of the group.
Honestly, I think it has to just
Ooh.
be.
Yeah, I think it might be Ymir.
I think
Yeah,
Ymir.
I
I think Ymir
mean-
just is the least mid of them.
I would argue that it would be, but that's just me.
Yeah, you want it to be him, Garrew.
Because he's just got a funny attack.
Yeah, but Ymir literally burns fingers on you.
I
Yeah,
mean,
fucking-
yeah, but
He pulls giant hands out of the ground.
Yeah, you're right. Yoshitung is. I think Yoshitung is just hilarious. So like, I think like, because when he does it the first time, you're like, "What the fuck was that? Did I just get Yoshi?" Like the first time Garrew uses it, you're just like, "Excuse you."
Like, I think I only saw him do it once, but that's because I killed him too fast. But
yeah, Ghost Flame Dragon's probably at the end of meh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is just a dragon. This is just that. I think most of this is like,
I'd say Rakshasa is definitely close to the bottom there.
you want him like over here, like this
I'd say after the bears.
after the bears, like that.
Yeah. Because, like, he can be unfun as hell. The bears, if you have problems fighting bears, just put them to sleep.
True. I think this is pretty good then, like this.
yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, next we have We Are Vibing. Okay, honestly, I think no one's beaten the vibe of Ancient Dragon Man. Let's just be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly.
No.
Yeah.
He is the vibe.
I think
the
the
man
least
exudes aura.
exactly. I think the least vibey is actually Avatar. I think honestly this list might be actually like, no, you know what? I think I think she's less of a vibe. He's definitely more of a vibe, I think.
Yeah.
No, you know what?
Yeah, Yoda's a bit of a vibe too.
I think this is pretty good, honestly. I might actually say this even more, because you don't have to deal with I'm going to kill you with potentially 1 to 2 hits or a crossbow that insta-kills you.
Yeah, don't get hit by that thing, Jesus.
There we go. I think this is, like, for vibing, I think this is a pretty good vibe. If you had to fight these in order, like, you would start with this and go up. You're like, yeah, honestly, I'm vibing more and more.
Yeah.
Okay, so A tier.
I feel like this is the hardest group.
This one here? Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I would personally not change it. That's exactly
that. You know what? I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I don't think there's a single thing I would change on this.
Yeah, that was about right, honestly.
Like, I think the only thing you could maybe argue is Messmer and Divine Beast. Maybe you could swap here and there, having Messmer be more fun, or maybe Ranah. But I think Romina is very much chilling where she's at, and then Dancing Lion has to be close. I think that's almost a perfect intro, like, to the DLC boss fight as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I think S tier might be perfectly lined up too, but
yeah.
That's
honestly, if I'm changing one thing, now this is biased as fuck, by the way, but if I'm changing only one thing, it's that. It's literally just that.
I would keep it either way.
I'm trying to think if I liked. I don't know. Midra was just so fucking cool.
like
Midra's got Midra's got a cool factor to him for sure. That I don't think Radahn has the same cool factor as.
Yeah, the change I would personally make to S tier if I were to change anything,
yes,
would to put Midra at the top, but
like this.
You like Midra?
I do enjoy
really
Midra.
bad.
He's a really fun fight.
Yeah. Like I would keep it Bayle, Midra, than Radahn,
like
because as much as Radahn is cool and all, he just has some issues that the other two bosses just do not suffer from.
You know what though? That is true. Actually, there are a few things that there are, like, again, I think it's an amazing fight, but yeah, I do actually agree. I think it's just because the other two bosses don't suffer from some of the stuff. Oh, I need to talk about this with Radahn too. His beam particles in phase 2 whenever he swings a sword. There is a problem with the arena. Sometimes it'll count that the arena is like a hill or a wall while he's swinging at you. So instead of the beam particles going past the end of his swords, it'll just appear in the middle of his sword swing, meaning that you just are in it, like you're just gonna get blasted in the face by a blast of light, and it's impossible to get away from. I will say that is also a negative that I noticed. There are certain locations in the arena where when he swings that follow after image, like light beams, sometimes they'll just appear like exactly where his like mid swing was, because it'll count that there's like a wall for some reason for them to drop down on. So then you just take a hit, and that can combo you and get you killed. So yeah, I think this is good. I really like this actually. And then obviously everyone, everyone that participated today, I'm super happy that you guys were able to do this with me here. They had their own ratings, obviously, but this is just my personal rating, and then obviously with us talking it over, where I would place most of these bosses at, and kind of like where I would align them at, and in a group consensus as well. If we were being silly and trying to see if people like wanted to see the end of the tier list, we could mess it all up right now, to be like, well, you actually have to watch the video to see when we do it.
Alright, now hear me out as I try to explain to you that Ancient Dragon Man is a better boss fight than Bayle.
Let's hear it.
So there's this guy, and he's ancient, and he's a dragon, but get this, he's also a man.
Oh, I'm sold.
And they gave him a katana, and he does Getsuga Tensho. You know that move that Ichigo Kurosaki does from the hit anime Bleach?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's basically just Ichigo, but he's in his dragon persona.
Oh, wait, wouldn't it be a scaly though?
Scale Sona.
Scale Sona, excuse me. I don't know I hope that's the right phrase with that.
That's funny. Oh gosh, yeah, no, I appreciate y'all for doing this with me. I thought this would be really fun to like go over and talk about, just because it's like honestly, there's like a lot of stuff you can talk about with a lot of the bosses here, and about like the DLC, which I haven't heard as much now, but when it first came out, everyone was complaining about how hard it was, which I mean it was hard, but it never felt unfair hard. So it's just cool to like talk about the bosses and get your guys' experience with them as well, since I don't think that's something we've done yet. About really talking about like everyone's thought processes and how they've experienced these boss fights really in great detail. But I appreciate it, y'all. Thank you, and I hope everyone enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.